there. I mean, at one point in that same area where he was doing the life hack where he rubbed the balloons and stuck them to the wall, he didn't have a lot of hair, so he put some paper on one of these big Tesla coil type things, and he says, when I turn this on, he says the paper is going to stick to it because of static electricity. He says, but when the paper gets positively charged instead of negatively charged like it is now, it's going to repel and it's going to fly off, and confetti's going to fly all over the place. So he did that, and as he did that, he turned it on, confetti stuck and then flew off, as it was, because it was positively charged now instead of negatively. No, it was negative and positive, and then when he turned it on, it turned to a negative and a negative, and two axis poles can't stick together. They repel each other. Positive, negative, negative.
Like so repels like.
Right. And so when he did that, it eventually stuck, and then it flew off the thing and onto the floor. It was cool. He says, now, if I had a lot of hair, you'd see something interesting too. He says, but that's why I bought a wig to bring it to work. So he got this big, long, and it's hilarious, big, long, blonde wig, and he's putting his hand on there, and this wig hair is flying all over the place. He looks like he's some weirdo rock star from the 80s, and he's bobbing his head around like he's headbanging. It's hilarious. The students were cracking up. I was cracking up laughing just watching this guy. I learned a lot just watching him, and I subscribe to his channel because he's one of the coolest people on YouTube, because he's teaching them something, practical stuff, but he's doing things in the same way, but he's doing it by teaching them the physics of it first, so they understand what's going on, and it's just cool. He is doing a. Can I what?
Can you give the site name?
As in for the listeners?
It
is on YouTube. I'm not sure what the actual. Let me see if I can get it. I can't do it on the computer. Let me try to see if I can do it on the phone. If Chris disconnects, guys, then we will come right back to him. But I'll look it up on YouTube real quick. It's a physics teacher. It's on YouTube. Teacher teaching. I'm trying to see where FI Phys. How you spell physics? FIS?
No, PHY.
Oh, PHY. Physics. Here he is. When a physics teacher knows his stuff is one video. What's the actual? Let me do this one. Physics teacher. Wrecking ball. There we go. Yeah, here it is. Now, what's the name of his channel? I need to know specific. He's got all kinds of crazy things. Like, he showed how a glass rod can repel. How a glass rod can be magnetized and stuff. This guy is hilarious. That's not him. That's not his channel. Trying to find this specific channel. That's not his channel either. But Trust in Physics is one video. Physics Works. Physics Teacher Risks His Life is another one. Walter Lewin. Lewin. Have you looked it up?
Lewin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Walter Lewin Physics. There we go. Here he is. I got his channel. This guy, even his profile picture has got some, like, he's dressed in red, white, and blue. He's got these big blue glasses. He looks like he's a clown. This guy's hysterical. His name is Lectures by Walter Lewin. They Will Make You Heart Physics. and I'm subscribed to him already. Lectures
His
by
channel.
Go ahead.
His channel is Walter Lewin.
It's called Lectures by Walter Lewin.
That's his channel?
Yeah. Lectures by Walter Lewin. He has a book out there called For the Love of Physics. I mean, literally, and I know this because I know a little bit about physics because at one of my last laundromat jobs, I did that to some of the customers around there because the customers love my magic. So I add physics to my magic, and I said, I'll show you a trick. And I got out a bucket full of water, and I said, I'm going to take this water. I'm going to grab this bucket here. I'm going to take this water, and I'm going to let this bucket go over my head upside down, and that water will not spill out. Believe me, they backed up, but when I took my arm and I held it straight, because you got to hold your arm straight. You can't bow your arm or nothing. You hold it as straight as you can, and you swing that bucket full of water around and around and around as many times as you want to, but you keep swinging it. And you don't, move your arm at all. You keep it in that straight position, and you just swing it like you're doing like in gym class when you're doing your exercises, and you rotate your arm around to stretch it out and stuff. Well, when you do that fast enough, that's called centrifugal force. And what happens is the centrifugal force of that water being pushed to the bottom of that bucket while you're swinging it around will cause the water to stay in there. And people were just amused. My boss almost got mad at me. He goes, you spilled that. I said, watch this. And I did the same thing. He's like, wow. He goes, that's pretty cool. Get back to work. But it's the centrifugal force that causes the water to stay in there. And so with centrifugal force, basically what that is it's just water being pushed to the bottom of a pail. So I used to do that as part of my stuff. I mean, I did things at the laundromat.
Defying gravity.
Yeah, you're basically defying gravity with gravity. You're using gravity to defy gravity is what you're doing. Because you're using the force of gravity to push it against the bottom of the bucket while it's not staying out. But he does crazy things like that, and it's just hilarious, some of the stuff that he does. But Chris knows, and I know because I know a little bit about physics, that if that wrecking ball would have came anywhere further to his chin, like if it would have touched even closer to his chin, that guy would have had a shattered chin, jaw, and everything. He would have been dead. That wrecking ball would have killed him on an instant. But see, he knew what he was doing. He knew, because one of the videos was called A Physics Teacher Who Knows His Stuff. He knew just what to do at the right moment and everything. He even closed his eyes so he wouldn't see it happen. Because, anytime you see something like that coming towards your face, you're going to want to move out of the way. So he closed his eyes and everything. But that wrecking ball, and watch it, Chris, it's hilarious. That wrecking ball did not touch it touched his chin, barely touched it, and it did, but it did not shatter his chin because there was just enough centrifugal force to keep him alive. Well, not centrifugal force, but enough force of that wrecking ball, and right at the exact right meter. He did it at like 1 meter, I think it was, right at this right exact meter, and it didn't kill him. So he's a cool guy, and reason I don't know why I got into that physics. Oh yeah, because of life hacks. But he, like I said, he was doing the life hack, and it was funny because he says you rub these party balloons on your hair, you could stick them to your wall. He's sticking them all over the chalkboard. It's hilarious. He goes, it makes great decorations around your house. And so with that being said, here's a quick TGIF life hack. Now, here's the scenario. You want to send an email to communityclub222@gmail.com, but you don't want to have to go to spell COMMUNITY222@gmail.com. You don't have to do all that. Go to Podcast Portal, download the app, go to the bottom right-hand corner of any page, and when you're down there, click on that email button. Looks like an envelope. And then, from there, click on your email client, which is Google, Yahoo, Bing, AOL, whatever you use. And yes, I mentioned AOL. AOL is so old school right now. But believe it or not, though, Chris, there are some people who still own an AOL email address. It's amazing to see that, but they do. I wonder how fast your emails are sent. But whatever your email client is, click on that and then click always at the bottom. What that does is it doesn't help you at that exact moment any faster. But the next time you go back to wanting to send me an email, you click that button again. Instantly sends you to the email address. You don't even have to type it in. You click it again the next time, instantly sends you to the email. All the thing you have to do after this, click a button, type in your email, hit send. That is easy. See, that's a TGIF patented life hack. It makes your life so much easier. One click at a time.
I just wanted to ask, what is the book by Walter Lewin?
It's called For the Love of Physics.
Okay, so if I say but for the love of God, I can just remember replacing God with physics.
Right, for the love of God.
To remember it.
Right. Because who created physics in the first place?
God.
Absolutely. God created everything that happens here on Earth. God created physics. He created everything that happens on Earth. So God created centrifugal force. Thank God he did, because that's an amazing property that we can use to teach stuff to people and to teach things to these kids. Because these kids in these colleges anymore are not learning what they're supposed to learn. They're learning garbage anymore. I kid you not. And I'm not going to say this in the context that my radio host, Michael Savage, said it in. But if you want to listen to something good, guys, listen to Mike Savage. He's a great host. He does a political type radio podcast on Apple Podcast. It's called The Michael Savage Show. Tune into him not every week, not every day of the week now. Every, I think it's like Monday, Tuesday, like Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday or something like that. But you can find the Michael Savage Show, and he's got 280 different episodes, 290 or so you can listen to. And he does things where he talks about political stuff, what's going on in this world, and things like that. He's a conservative talk stream host that does podcasting. I was off the radio because they kicked him off eventually because they disagree with what he says. But he has this thing on his website, michaelsavage.com. It's called News, Views, and Reviews. And in one of his news articles, it says that there is a class now in Berkeley now I forgot what the college is in Berkeley, and it's called ORAL 101. If you know what that means, it's an actual class. I kid you not. ORAL 101. It's an actual physical class.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and go figure that. I'm not trying to say that because I want to be gross or I want to be inappropriate. No, I'm not trying to be inappropriate on the show. But when you're teaching that to kids, what do you think's going on? There's more to it than that. I mean, he talks about all kinds of stuff on the show. You guys got to listen to him. He's pretty cool. I enjoy listening to Mike Savage. But there's so much stuff that they're teaching these kids these days. I mean, diversity training, don't get me wrong. I don't hate nobody, guys. I don't hate nobody. My ex-boyfriend and I are still best friends. We may not be boyfriends anymore because I quit that job. And that ain't that a pun? Being that I got fired from my job, I quit that job. Don't worry, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect, but I quit that job. And me and my ex-boyfriend are still best friends to this day. Whenever I go to Michigan, I still hang out with him. I still see him. I still talk to him, We still chum it up. We still do things that we used to do. We just don't do those things anymore. We still talk. We still go hang out, there's a couple times where me and my wife actually went out to lunch with him one day. And it was fun. We had a good time. That's who I learned my ASL sign language from, was my ex. And I learned it for him because it's easier for him to learn. It's easier for me to learn his language, being that I can hear somewhat, rather than him trying to learn mine, and he can't hear for nothing. So, I mean, like I said, I don't hate nobody. Like I said, we're still good friends. We still hang out when we go to Michigan. But when you're trying to teach the children in this world that you got to be diverse, you got to love everyone, and you got to respect them, and that's